Good morning everyone. Today we will go for the anatomy of the thyroid gland. First of all, we know the what is meant by thyroid. Thyroid is one of the endocrine gland present in the neck. Okay, this gland is mainly produces or makes the two hormones. One is thyroxine and another one is triiodothyronine. Okay, mainly two hormones. It secretes the mainly two hormones. One is thyroxine, another one is triiodothyronine. Okay, another one thing, this thyroid gland it is a large ductless gland present in the neck, which secretes hormones or mainly regulates the growth of the body and developments of the body through the maintaining the metabolic rate. It's mainly thyroid gland. It maintains the metabolic rate or metabolism of the protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Okay, the thyroid gland is a large ductless gland in the neck which secretes hormones or regulates the growth and development of the body through the maintaining the metabolic rate. Another one thing, nowadays females are most of the time suffer from the hypothyroidism. And what happened, hypothyroidism medicines or we are giving nowadays thyroxine tablets. Okay, most of time the hypothyroidism medicines, okay, are mainly made by the extract prepared from the thyroid gland of animals, and that extract is used as a treating the deficiency of the thyroid hormones. Okay, what are the we are using for treating the hypothyroidism medications are most of time all are extract prepared from the thyroid gland. Okay, and then this is a thyroid gland. It is present in the front of the neck and just below the Adam's apple in general, and thyroid it is a one of the endocrine gland. We can go for the next slide. Thyroid, it is mainly words come from the or derives from the Greek word. Okay, in that thyros, in at the 18th century, what happened in Greek, theoros, okay, may thurus, it means oblong shield. Okay, and what happened, this thyroid gland it is look like a oblong shield, or it thyroid gland, the name, okay, thyroid, it's derived from the thyroid cartilage. Okay, this is a thyroid cartilage of the larynx. Okay, this is a thyroid cartilage of the larynx. Okay, the name thyroid gland is derived from the thyroid cartilages, which is look like a shield. Okay, and in 18th century, the thyroid in Greeks thyros or thuros means oblong shield. This is a thyroid gland, and this is look like a shield. Okay, oblong shield. By this the thyroid name is came. Okay, you can see here in this picture also, this is a cricoid cartilage of the larynx, and this is a thyroid cartilage of the larynx. Okay, this is look like a shield. Okay, because of this the thyroid name will come. Then go for the next slide. In that mainly location of the thyroid gland or position of the thyroid gland. In general, the thyroid gland is present in the lower part of the neck, front part of the neck, and just below the Adam's apple. Okay, and it is present opposite to the C5 to T1 vertebrae, or you can also say it is from the midpoint or oblong the from the thyroid cartilage to the sixth tracheal ring. Okay, it is mainly the thyroid gland. It is present lower part of the front and side of the neck. Okay, this is the front and side of the neck. Okay, and it is present opposite to the C5, C6, C7 and T1 vertebrae. And each lateral lobe, these are the lateral lobes of the thyroid glands, or right lobe or left lobe of the thyroid gland, or each lateral lobe extend from this is a thyroid cartilage, from the midpoint of the thyroid cartilage to the lower sixth tracheal ring. Okay, from thyroid cartilage to the sixth tracheal ring. Okay, these are the tracheal rings. Each lateral lobe extend upwards to the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage and below up to the fifth to sixth tracheal ring. Okay, isthmus. I already explained what is the word meaning of the isthmus, or it is a bridges the two lobes. Isthmus is nothing but it is a midpoint or connects the two lobes, or it bridges the two lobes. Okay, the isthmus extends across the midline in front of the trachea. In that mainly second, third and fourth tracheal ring. The isthmus, this is a isthmus. Okay, this is extends from the second, third and fourth tracheal ring. Okay, lobes from the upwards to oblique line of the thyroid cartilage to the sixth tracheal ring. Isthmus is 2, 3rd and 4th tracheal ring in front of the second, third and fourth tracheal ring. Okay, now you can go for the shape of the thyroid gland. This thyroid gland, it is look like a butterfly shaped gland, or it is look like a H shape. Okay, thyroid gland is mainly look like a butterfly shaped gland and present in the lower neck, or it is look like a H shape. Okay, alphabetic H shape. Okay, how the butterfly has the wings, body, head and tail, that same way the butterfly, what thyroid also has the lobes and isthmus. Okay, can see here in the grass. Okay, these are the wings of the what butterfly. This is the body, this is the tail and this is the head. Okay, the wings denotes the what lobes of the lateral lobes of the thyroid gland, or respective right and left lobes of the thyroid gland. Okay, and these lobes present just lateral to trachea. Okay, that's why which is present right side, that is the right thyroid lobe, and which is present left side to the trachea, that is left tracheal lobe. Okay, and which is the covers the the tracheal rings or trachea, mainly second to fourth tracheal rings, that is called as a isthmus. Okay, in that isthmus is in butterfly. Okay, what is body and tail is denotes the what isthmus of the, this is the isthmus of the what thyroid gland. In that wings in butterfly, for easy to understand, in that wings denotes the lobes of the thyroid gland, body and tail denotes the isthmus of the thyroid gland, and head denotes the pyramidal lobe of the thyroid gland. The upper pole of the wing, it denotes the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage, or the you can say as the C5. Okay, this lobe denotes the upper pole of the lobe. Okay, and that is present at the opposite to the C5. Okay, and lower pole of the this wing, it denotes the base of the thyroid lobe. Okay, and that denotes the fifth and sixth tracheal ring. Okay, and body and tail of the butterfly, it denotes the isthmus of the thyroid gland, and head of the butterfly, it denotes the pyramidal lobe of the thyroid gland. Okay, in for easy understanding or gross anatomy, you can say as a the thyroid gland, it is look like a butterfly. Okay, and how the butterfly has the two wings, that same way it also has the two lobes. The upper pole of the wing, it denotes the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage. Lower pole of the wing, it denotes the fifth and sixth tracheal ring or base of the lobe. Body and tail of the butterfly, it denotes the isthmus of the thyroid gland, that is second and third and fourth tracheal ring, and head of the butterfly, it denotes the pyramidal lobe. We can go for the next slide. In that we can discuss about the dimensions of the thyroid gland and weight of the thyroid gland. Shape, it is look like a butterfly or H shaped. Okay, it has the two lobes, mainly two lobes. Okay, and their size is 5 centimeter in length, 3 centimeter in width, and 2 centimeter in thickness. And isthmus, isthmus is 1.2 centimeter in length and 1.2 centimeter in width. And weight of the thyroid gland, it is 25 gram in adult. It is varies in size in females. Okay, and it is larger in the females and physiologically enlarged during in pregnancy and menstruation. Okay, how the thyroid gland also has the capsules. Capsules means these are the coverings. Okay, it is also has a two type of capsules or two types of the coverings, that is false capsule and true capsule. Okay, the true capsule is firmly attached to the gland. Okay, I already explained in the true capsule and false capsule in the prostate gland also, and in the kidney also. Okay, and that mainly whenever you go for the capsules, true capsule and false capsule, true capsule always it is the inner, and false capsule is always it is outer side. These are the capsules are nothing but the thin coverings, fibrous sheath. Okay, that covers the gland. Okay, that covers the thyroid gland, and that is forms the true capsules and false capsule. Okay, and thyroid gland is covered by the thin fibrous capsule which has an inner and outer layers. Okay, the inner one is say as a true capsule, and that is inner layer force out into the gland and forms the septi, and that divides the thyroid tissue into the microscopic lobules. Okay, the inner one is firmly attached and it makes the septi in the glands. Okay, and it divides the thyroid tissue into microscopic lobules. Okay, outer layer of the thyroid gland or outer covering of the thyroid gland, it is also say as a pretracheal fascia. Okay, it is one fascia, it covers the trachea. Okay, or just above the trachea, and also it covers the thyroid gland. Okay, it is extends from the larynx to the fibrous capsule of the pericardium. Okay, or outer layer of the pericardium. Okay, and this pretracheal fascia or thin covers the larynx and trachea and thyroid gland. Okay, this it is a outermost layer of the thyroid gland. Okay, and is a false capsule, it is a outer layer and continuous with the pretracheal fascia attaching the gland to the cricoid and thyroid cartilages. Okay, this false capsule, it is mainly attaches the gland to the cricoid cartilage and thyroid cartilage. Okay, here another one is important thing is because of this false capsule only, what happened, the movements of the thyroid gland during the deglutition was happened, and there is mainly two things are there. two movement of the thyroid gland is happen. One is the false capsule, another one is ligamentum of the berry. You can go for the next slide. Okay, you can see here in this. Okay, this is a red color, little bit, or orange color. This outermost layer, this layer. Okay, you can see here this layer. It is say as a false capsule. Okay, this is say as a false capsule. Okay, outermost layer. It is also here, you can see here, this is a thyroid cartilage of larynx. Okay, this is larynx and this is a trachea. Okay, pre means just above the trachea is one capsule is there or layer is there. This layer is say as a pretracheal fascia, or this is the outermost layer is say as a false capsule. You can see here in this picture clearly. This is outermost layer is say as a what? False capsule, and innermost this layer is say as a true capsule. Okay, true capsule, it is in where the true capsule, it is firmly attached to the gland and it pierces the gland, and this true capsule has the more blood supply or contains the or covers the vessels. Okay, this is very important during the true capsule and false capsule during the surgery of the thyroid gland, that is thyroidectomy. Okay, and hemithyroidectomy or complete thyroidectomy. Okay, in that it is very important of these two layers. One is the false capsule, another one is the true capsule. Another one is what happened, the pretracheal fascia, that fascia that covers the larynx or thyroid cartilage and the trachea. It also covers the pretracheal thyroid gland and pretracheal fascia. It covers the thyroid gland and it also attached to the fibrous layer of the fibrous covering of the pericardium. Okay, in some what happened, this pretracheal fascia attached to the thyroid cartilage. Okay, and the larynx. Okay, and cricoid cartilage of the larynx. Okay, that are called as a ligamentum berry. It is very important. You can see here, this is pretracheal fascia somewhat attached to the thyroid cartilage, larynx. Okay, or cricoid cartilage of the larynx. Okay, this is say as a ligamentum of berry. Okay, ligamentum of berry is also say as a suspensory ligament of the thyroid gland. Okay, the ligamentum berry is also say as a suspensory ligamentum of the thyroid. You can see here it is attached here. Okay, pretracheal fascia. Okay, this is ligamentum berry is mainly, it is suspensory ligament that passes from the thyroid gland to the trachea. Okay, and another one thing, the ligamentum berry, the both the trachea and thyroid are surrounded by the thin layer of the fascia. Okay, which separates from the thyroid capsule. Okay, the posteriorly this fascia investing the fascia fuse with the thyroid capsule and forming the thick suspensory ligament for the thyroid, and these are called as a ligamentum of berry. These ligaments are attached chiefly to the cricoid cartilage and may extend to the thyroid cartilage. Okay, and these ligamentum berry, it is very important during the surgery also, and it is also during the deglutition of the or during the deglutition there is movement of the thyroid gland. It is happened because of the one is because of the ligamentum berry, another because of the false capsule. Okay, in what happened in CA of the thyroid gland, what happened, this ligamentum berry and true capsule or false capsule are attach each other, okay, and the movement of the thyroid gland was not happen, okay. There is spread, and this attachment will further attached, firmly attached to the thyroid cartilage and larynx, okay. Because of that, what happened, there is CA, or this for true capsule also attached to the this false capsule. Because of that, movement of the thyroid gland will restricts, okay. The movement of the thyroid gland during the deglutition, because of the these two things, one is ligamentum of Berry, another one is false capsule. And this true capsule, okay, this is true capsule, okay. The true capsule of the thyroid gland, this is the innermost layer of the gland, and it is forced out the gland and forms the septum and divides the thyroid tissue into microscopic lobules. And this is very important, and this true capsule contains the most of the blood vessels, okay. During surgery it is very important, okay. During the thyroidectomy, we remove the thyroid gland without injuring this for true capsule. If you injure this true capsule, there is abundant bleeding will happen, okay. Abundant or more bleeding will happen. It is very difficult to the holds the bleeding, okay. Without injuring this false true capsule, we can remove the what thyroid gland during the thyroidectomy. Because there is so much bleeding, because this true capsule, it contains the abundant blood vessels or venous plexus, okay. Because of that, there is severe bleeding. Can go for the next slide. The capsules of the thyroid gland, it has mainly two capsules. One is true capsule and another one is false capsule. The true fibrous capsule, a condenser and connective tissue, encloses the gland. And false facial capsule or pretracheal capsule, it derived from the pretracheal fascia, thickened laterally, forming the lateral ligamentum of Berry. This fixes the gland to the cricoid cartilage and to the thyroid cartilage of the larynx. This is very surgical importance, okay. And during the deglutitions, there is movement of the gland. It is because of the false capsule and ligamentum of Berry. And during the surgery, you can remove with the thyroid gland with these capsules without injuring the true capsule, okay. You can see here in this, okay. This is the thyroid cross section of the neck. In the this is a trachea, okay. This is a trachea, this is a esophagus, and this is a thyroid gland, okay. And we can say this is the trachea. Pre means above, okay, or before, above. Pre or just above, okay. Pretracheal fascia. It has its name as pretracheal fascia. It fascia cover present in the above the trachea. This you can see here, and this is continuous and covers the whole the thyroid gland. And you can, what you say, it is a cross section of the neck, and this is a U shape, is what you can say. This is a thyroid gland, and this is a pretracheal fascia, also say as a what false capsule of the trachea. It covers the whole what thyroid gland, and this capsule or fascia is a say as a false capsule of the thyroid gland, okay. Here another one is fascia is there just below the esophagus, okay. That is say as a, this is a esophagus, that is say as a buccopharyngeal fascia. See here, this is a buccopharyngeal fascia, okay. And this is also connects with the pretracheal fascia, okay. And this is a carotid cyst. This is the carotid artery and jugular vein, and this is a covers the one fascia to this carotid artery, everything, okay. This is as a carotid cyst. The pretracheal fascia is also slightly attached to the carotid sheath, and this is the vertebrae. Okay, and this is another one is fascia is there. This is say as a pretracheal fascia. Okay, this is say as a pretracheal fascia. Another one you can just for your kind information I will explain. Okay, from above to superficial to deeper side. Okay, this is a skin. Okay, after skin you can see the superficial you see the fat. Okay, after that you can see this is muscle. This is the platysma muscle. It is covers the whole neck. Okay, it is comes from the face of the face to covers the neck. This is the platysma muscle. First you can got the skin, little bit fat. Okay, then you can see the platysma muscle. Okay, after that you can see the deep cervical fascia. In there no superficial fascia. Okay, directly you can get the skin. Okay, or you can say that skin and layer also you can fatty layer you can say as a superficial fascia. Okay, and this is a deep fascia. Okay, that deep fascia covers the sternocleidomastoid muscles. This is the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Okay, then before that after turning or opening the platysma muscle. Okay, we during surgery we just cut out and lifted this the platysma muscle. Okay, after that we can open the deep fascia or investing fascia. Okay, after that you can see here these are the strap muscles. There is 3 muscles are present just front of the neck. These are say as a strap muscles. Okay, first this is a first it is omohyoid. This is a omohyoid muscle. This is the sternothyroid muscle. Okay, and this is the sternohyoid muscle. This is sternohyoid muscle, sternothyroid muscle, omohyoid muscle. These 3 muscles are completely covers the thyroid gland from the mid isthmus to the whole lateral lobe of the thyroid gland. These are say as a strap because they are strapping the thyroid gland. Because of that they are say as the strap muscles of the neck. One is sternohyoid, sternothyroid and omohyoid. Okay, and omohyoid and sternothyroid muscle is are covered by the sternocleidomastoid little bit and the sternohyoid muscle. Okay, this is about the cross section of the neck. Okay, and this is say as the false capsule of the thyroid gland. Okay, then you can go for the capsules. The true capsule, it is fibrous and peripheral condensation of connective tissue of gland, forms the septi and lobules. Okay, it is forces out, and inner it is a true capsule. It is a inner layer of the thyroid gland and it is extrudes into the gland and forms the septi, and that divides the thyroid tissue into the microscopic lobules. Okay, and this true capsule contains the arteries and venous plexus of the vein lies deep to it. This is about true capsule. And surgical importance: to avoid the hemorrhage during the operation of the thyroid removed along with the true capsule. During surgery you should avoid the rupture of this capsule. Okay, you can remove the thyroid gland along with this capsule. You can see here. Next you can go for the false capsule. It is also say as a pretracheal fascia, or it also connects the pretracheal fascia. The pretracheal layer of the deep cervical fascia move during deglutitions. Clinical importance of the false capsule is to differentiate the thyroid swelling from other neck swellings. Okay. If thyroid swelling is there, there is move during deglutition. If no thyroid swelling are there, or lateral swellings are there, or any lymph nodes swellings are there, these are not moved during the deglutations. Okay, and thyroid swellings are moved during the deglutations because of the false capsule. Another one is because of the ligamentum of the berry. The other structures of the thyroid gland: cyst, subhyoid bursa, pre and paratracheal lymph node, extensive carcinoma of larynx. Okay, from posterior suspensory ligament or ligamentum of berry. Already I will explain. Can see here, this is attached to the pretracheal fascia to hyoid bone, thyroid cartilage, and it covers the pretracheal layer and the thyroid gland, and it is attached the fibrous pericardium. Okay, and this is also attached the cricoid cartilage by the thickening of the this pretracheal fascia posteriorly, and this attachment is say as a suspensory ligament of the thyroid gland, and it is also say as a ligamentum berry. You can see here, this is a thyroid, this is a trachea, this is a thyroid gland, and this is a you can say pretracheal fascia. Okay, and this is layer is say as a false capsule of the thyroid gland. The innermost this layer is say as a true capsule of the thyroid gland, and this is a carotid sheath. It contains the artery, vein, and one is nerve. Okay, this is carotid artery, vein, and nerve. Okay, and this is say as a buccopharyngeal fascia. Okay, just above the pretracheal fascia there is another one is fascia is there. That fascia is as a buccopharyngeal. Pretracheal fascia. The pretracheal fascia attached to the thyroid gland, to the trachea and larynx. The pretracheal fascia attached the thyroid gland to the neck, trachea and larynx. Thus the thyroid move upwards on swallowing, an important diagnostic feature for lump in the neck. This is already explained. Okay, now we can go for the anatomy of the thyroid gland, in that of the lobes of the thyroid gland. Okay, it has the two lobes. Okay, one is right or two lateral lobes, or right and left lobes. It has two lobes, right and left lobes, or two lateral lobes. It is pyramidal in shape or it is in conical in shape. It has the lobes has the apex, base. Okay, and it has the three surfaces. Each lobe has the three surfaces. One is lateral surface, medial surface, and posterior lateral surface. And it has the two borders, anterior and posterior border. Okay, each lobe has the apex and base and three surfaces and two borders. Three surfaces are lateral surface, medial surface, and posterior lateral surface, and two borders are anterior and posterior. And isthmus of the thyroid gland, it has the two surfaces. One is anterior surface, another one posterior surface, and it has the two borders. One is superior border, another one is inferior border. This is about the lobes of the thyroid gland and their morphology of the thyroid gland. We go for the next slide. Position of the thyroid gland. Why it is present in the lower neck and why it is present at the from the C5 to opposite to C5 to T1, and from the cartilages tracheal ring from the why it is from the 5 to 6 tracheal ring. Okay, it is lies under cover of the sternothyroid muscle and sternohyoid muscle on the side of the larynx and trachea. Okay, this is a can see a this is a omohyoid muscle. This is a sternohyoid muscle, and this is a sternothyroid muscle. Okay, this is a sternothyroid muscle. It can look like somewhat broad and just above it. This is a thyroid gland, and this is a sternothyroid muscle, and this is a sternohyoid muscle, and this is a omohyoid muscle. Okay. Okay, position. The thyroid gland is cocked in the pocket of the sternothyroid muscle. Okay, this is the thyroid cartilage. It is sternothyroid muscle. You can remember it is present from the thyroid cartilage. Okay, you can see here. This is covers completely like a pocket. Like this is a thyroid gland like this. Okay, this is a cricoid cartilage. Okay, you can see here. This is a thyroid muscle. This is a thyroid muscle, and this is the sternothyroid muscle, and this is a thyroid gland. Okay, and it is pockets like a completely cocked the what thyroid gland. Okay, like a pocket. Okay, this is the sternothyroid muscle. Because of that, this is in the that position. Okay, you can go for the surfaces of the thyroid gland. In that medial surface of the lobe, medial surface of the lobe, in that it has the two tubes, or it has the relation with the two tubes. One is by the it is relation with the two tubes. One is larynx and trachea, another is by the pharynx and esophagus, and it has the two muscle. One is cricothyroid, another one is inferior constrictor, and it has two nerves, that is external and recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay, posterior lateral surface, it is has a relation with the carotid sheath. Okay, and lateral surface, it is a convex and covered with the sternohyoid muscle, sternocleidomastoid muscle, superior belly of the omohyoid muscle, and sternothyroid muscle. These are the surfaces of the each lobe of the thyroid gland. Now we can go for the pyramidal lobe of the thyroid gland. It is present in the middle of the, or it is originated from the isthmus of the thyroid gland, and it is develops during the development of the thyroid gland, or descents of the thyroid gland. Okay, or it is from the it forms during the descents of the thyroid gland. Okay, in 50% of the thyroid glands have the pyramidal lobe. Okay, this middle lobe. Okay, it is only not present in all cases. Okay, not only 50%, also hardly on 30%. These are the lobes of the thyroid gland, and this is the isthmus, and these are the lateral lobes, or right and left lateral, and middle lobe. This is the accessory thyroid tissue. Okay, this accessory thyroid tissue or remnant of the thyroglossal duct. Okay, during the descent of the during the development of the thyroid gland, and during the descent of the thyroid gland, there is remnant of the thyroglossal duct. Okay, that is forms the what pyramidal lobe of the thyroid gland. Okay, the pyramidal lobe extends superiorly from the isthmus of the thyroid gland. The fibrous tissue connecting the pyramidal lobe with the hyoid bone may contain the levator glandular thyroid muscle, the elevator of the thyroid gland. A band of connective tissue, often connecting the accessory thyroid tissue, may continue from the apex of the pyramidal lobe to the hyoid bone. In these cases, whereas most of time pyramidal lobe is present, in that case most of time thyroglossal cysts are formed more. Okay, and there is most of time formation of the thyroglossal or fistula. Okay, now we can go for the blood supply of the thyroid gland. The mainly blood supply of the thyroid gland by the superior thyroidal artery and inferior thyroidal artery. And sometimes there is maybe thyroidal ima artery. The superior thyroidal artery, it is a branch of external carotid artery, and inferior thyroidal artery, it is a branch of the thyrocervical trunk, and thyrocervical trunk, it is a branch of the right subclavian artery. And inferior thyroidoema artery, it is mainly supplies the blood supply to the isthmus of the thyroid gland. Okay, this is the thyroidoema artery. It is not present in every cases. Okay, mainly the thyroid gland is supplied by the superior thyroidal artery and inferior thyroidal artery. During this surgery, the ligation of these arteries are very important. We can explain in the next slides. Okay, you can see here, this is a superior thyroidal artery. This is a superior thyroidal artery. This is a inferior thyroidal artery, and it is thyroidoema artery. It is present only in the 3% from the aorta. The origin of the thyroidoema artery, it is from the aorta. Okay, and the inferior thyroidal artery from the trachocervical trunk, and this is the trachocervical trunk. It is a branch of the subclavian artery. And superior thyroidal artery, it is a branch of the external carotid artery. The superior thyroidal artery mainly supply the upper and middle part of the thyroid gland. Inferior thyroid artery, it is mainly supplied by the base of the thyroid gland, and most of time isthmus is supplied by the thyroidoema artery. This is the blood supply of the gland. The superior thyroidal artery, it is a branch of the external carotid artery. It runs downwards and forwards within the intimate the relation of the external laryngeal nerve, divided into the anterior and posterior branches. Inferior thyroidal artery, it is a branch of the thoracocervical trunk from the subclavian artery. It runs first upwards, then medially, and finally downwards to reach the lower pole of the thyroid lobe. The terminate part is internally related to the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Thyroidoema artery, in 3% of the individuals, it arises from the brachiocephalic artery or the aorta, arch of the aorta, ascending front of the trachea to reach the isthmus. The accessory thyroid artery, it comes from the tracheal and esophageal vessels. It is very important during surgery or during the ligation of the thyroidal arteries. Okay, the superior thyroidal artery, it always you can ligate near to the lobe. Okay, if you go for the away, there is may chance to injure the external laryngeal nerve, because there is a close relation or they are overlap each other away from the pole. And inferior thyroidal artery, you can see here inferior, this is a inferior thyroidal artery. Always you ligate the inferior thyroidal artery away from the thyroid gland. Okay, can just remember, okay, this is a person, thyroid gland is a person, base or toes of the leg are very far away from the heart. That's why you can ligate this inferior thyroidal artery away. And you can see superior, the eyes or hairs of the head or skull are very near to the heart. Okay, that's why you can always you ligate the what near. And just remember, in the neck is far away from the base. Near base means legs. Okay, and neck is very far near to the apex. Here apex means head. Okay, that's why superior thyroidal artery always ligate near to the gland or just above the gland. And inferior thyroidal artery always ligate to the away, because there is may chances of the rupture or injury to the nerves. Okay, I can explain next slides. Superior thyroidal artery from the external carotid artery. It is a branch of external carotid artery. It accompanied the external laryngeal nerve. Ligate the artery close to the gland to avoid the injury to this nerve. Maybe in that mainly external laryngeal nerve. If nerve is injured, there may chances of weaken the voice. Okay, or it may be your sound box is crashed out. The nerve is more intimately related to the artery, a little away from the gland. Inferior thyroid artery from the thyrocervical trunk, accompanied by the recurrent laryngeal nerve. The ligate the artery away from the gland to avoid the injury to this nerve. The recurrent laryngeal nerve crosses in front of the inferior thyroidal artery close to the gland. Now there is venous supply of the venous drainage of the thyroid gland. The veins, mainly superior thyroidal vein, drain into internal jugular vein. Middle thyroidal vein drain into the internal jugular vein. A vein of Kocher is mainly drain into the internal jugular vein. These all are drains the apex and base of the thyroid gland. Then there may be mainly in the lateral lobe, and inferior thyroidal vein is mainly drains the isthmus and the base of the thyroid gland. Okay, and just inferior thyroidal vein drains into the left brachiocephalic vein. The superior, middle and vein of Kocher are drained into the internal jugular vein, and inferior thyroidal vein drained into the left brachiocephalic vein. This already explained venous section. There is mainly by the three veins: superior thyroidal vein, middle thyroidal vein, and inferior thyroidal vein. The superior thyroidal vein emerges the upper pole, accompanies the superior thyroidal artery, ends in the internal jugular vein. The middle thyroidal vein emerges the middle of the lobe, ends in the internal jugular vein. Inferior thyroidal vein emerges the lower border of the isthmus, descends in front of the trachea, and drains into the left brachiocephalic vein, and in sometimes the Kocher's vein. The both thyroid arteries are related to nerve, which must be avoided when tying the arteries. The inferior thyroidal artery divide outside the pretracheal fascia into 4 or 5 branches that pierces the fascia separately to reach the lower pole of the gland. Remember that the superior thyroidal artery divide within the pretracheal fascia, and inferior thyroidal artery is divided outside the pretracheal fascia. Okay, means true capsule, the superior inferior thyroidal artery we can divide in the above the false capsule. Okay, and the superior thyroid artery can divide within the false capsule. The recurrent laryngeal nerve has a variable relation to the inferior thyroidal artery. Because of its proximity of the inferior thyroidal artery and the pretracheal fascia, it may be injured while ligating the artery during the thyroidectomy. The variable relationship of the inferior thyroidal artery to the recurrent laryngeal nerve makes thyroid surgery to potential risk of normal speech. Okay, lymphatic drainage is mainly pretracheal lymph nodes and paratracheal lymph nodes, and these all lymph nodes drain into thoracic duct. Okay, in front of these nodes drain into the deep cervical lymph nodes. This is the lymphatic drainage in mainly extensive multi-directional flow, preglandular to prelaryngeal to pretracheal, pretracheal to paratracheal, paratracheal to brachiocephalic lymph nodes, and deep cervical lymph nodes and thoracic ducts. The upper part we have the prelaryngeal lymph nodes to the upper deep cervical lymph nodes. Lower part we have the pretracheal and paratracheal lymph nodes to lower deep cervical lymph nodes. Like that, it directly drain into the thoracic ducts. This is very important during the CA of the cervical region or CA of the thyroidal gland and extension of the CA of the neck. Now there is another one important triangles are there. There are Jules triangle. Okay, this is it is also said as the sternothyrolaryngeal triangle. Okay, during surgery this is a very important triangle in which external laryngeal nerve is identified during the thyroid surgery. Boundaries are like that. Okay, laterally by the you can see here, this is the midline, this is the lateral, this is upper pole of the thyroid gland. Okay, and this is the superior thyroidal vessels. Okay, and medially by the middle line. Okay, and superiorly by the strap muscles and deep investing layer of the fascia, and is floored by the cricothyroid muscle and roof by the strap muscles. Okay, this is triangle of the Jules triangle. In that we can easily identify the external laryngeal nerve, and then we can go for the ligation of the superior thyroidal artery. Okay, because of that, this is very important to identify the Jules triangle, the triangle in which external laryngeal nerve is identified during the thyroid surgery, laterally by the upper pole of the thyroid gland and superior thyroidal vessels, superiorly by the attachment of the strap muscles and deep investing layer of the fascia of the hyoid, medially by the midline and floor by the cricothyroid muscle and roof by the strap muscles. The external branch of the recurrent laryngeal nerve lies within this triangle. Another one is triangle is that Beers triangle or Reddy's triangle. Reddy's medially by the medially by the recurrent laryngeal nerve in the lower part of the tracheo-esophageal groove, laterally by the common carotid sheath, and superiorly by the inferior thyroidal artery. This is the Jules triangle, and this is what you can say as a Reddy's triangle. Okay, this is the Reddy's triangle, and this is a Jules triangle. Okay, medially there is recurrent laryngeal nerve in the lower part of the tracheo-esophageal groove, laterally by the common carotid artery, and superiorly by the inferior thyroidal artery. This is this triangle. Now you can go for the applied anatomy of the thyroid gland. There are some congenital deformities in that ectopic thyroid, lingual thyroid, thyroglossal cyst, thyroglossal fistula, lateral aberrant thyroid, agenesis, and dysharmonogenesis. These are the some congenital anomalies of the thyroid gland. This is a ectopic thyroid. Okay, you can see here, this is a ectopic thyroid gland. This is a lingual thyroid gland. You can see here, this is a left tonsil, this is uvula, and this is a lingual thyroid gland. Okay, and this is a thyroglossal cyst. The thyroglossal cyst. This is a thyroglossal fistula, and this is the lateral aberrant thyroid. The dysharmonogenesis. In that, it is dysharmonogenesis maybe it is because of the not proper functioning of the thyroid hormones, thyroxine and trioiodinine. Okay, because of their dysfunction, there may be dysharmonogenesis, there may be hypothyroidism, or it may be hyperthyroidism. There is formation of the goiter. Okay, and the goiter, it may be benign or it may be carcinogenic. Okay. Then functions of the thyroid gland. Briefly, I explained the functions of the thyroid gland. It mainly functions. It has a role in the growth. It has role in the development. It stimulates the heart rate. Stimulate the heart construction. Stimulate the synthesis of protein and carbohydrates. It regenerates the degrade cholesterol and triglycerides. It enhance the beta another adrenergic receptors to catecholamine. It increase the vitamin requirements. Okay. It mainly thyroid. It acts on the every cells in the body. Okay, it acts on nearly every cells in the body. It regulates all the metabolism. It mainly increase the glucose metabolism, increase the protein synthesis, increase the oxygen consumptions, and regulates the growth and tissue differentiation, digestion, reproduction, bone growth, and muscle tone and development of the nerve cells. Thank you very much. This is about thyroid gland.